Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 166. If you want clarity about your life and or your business, you can schedule a one-on-one coaching session with me. You can send an email to fr@francesrichards.com. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. Danielle Obi invented waterproof scarves to encourage swimming cultures among Black people. She's from the UK. Welcome, Danielle.
Hello, Dr. Richards. Thank you for having me.
Share with our audience, that was a very quick bio. Why don't you share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your business?
I am Danielle Obi. I'm a mother of 3 avid swimmers. I have a previous background as a management consultant, but very recently we set up the Black Swimming Association here in the UK in partnership with Swim England, National Government Authority, to deal with the lack of representation and a very low level of participation within the Black, Asian and minority ethnic community. Now, my journey into being a co-founder of the Black Swimming Association, the BSA here in the UK, was in a mess, was working and inventing the waterproof scarf, which is in a mess. It's a recreational aquatic tool headgear that is designed really to foster inclusion, participation and diversity of BAMEs in aquatic, BAMEs being Black, Asian and minority ethnic group. I personally, as a mother, got 2 daughters, and I have struggled with the issue of, hairstyles, water, swimming, chlorine damage. I gave up swimming for just under 2 decades. And then obviously fast forward, I get married and I've got 2 girls of my own, and I couldn't make that decision for them because they do need to swim. And so I really struggled with my daughter, Kayla. It was a really, really big deal for her, and swimming just was never fun for us. And I found myself, having to pretty much go through the same cycle that my mother went through with the whole hair issue. And I kind of thought, there's got to be a way around this. She wasn't enjoying swimming. We were having issues at our local health club where, we had a certain scenario. She'd just gone swimming. I prepped her hair before she went in swimming. She went into the pool, came out of the pool, was about to go through the normal routine of washing chlorine out of her hair and conditioning it. And this particular day, she was just in a frenzy. And she was screaming, "Mommy, no, mommy, no." And someone then went into the reception from the family changing room and said, that there was a child screaming, but the mother was probably doing something to her. And then I get a knock on the door, and there's not security but reception, and they're saying, "Where's the child? Is everything okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, everything's perfectly fine." I open the door, I'm holding a bottle of shampoo in my hand, and I've got the door open and just pushed in, and like, "Where's the child?" I'm like, "What's going on?" Well, someone's reported to reception that there's a child here in distress. I'm thinking, that's my daughter, she's screaming because I'm trying to wash the chlorine out of her hair. Her swimming cap is filled again, and I just stood there staring at me thinking, we've heard it all, and now you've either abused the child. I don't know what they had going through their minds, but you could see that look, and it wasn't good. And at that point in time, I just felt so exasperated, and I thought, there's got to be a way. I'm just stood here trying to wash her hair because we've just been out of the pool. I haven't done anything to her. I just looked at Kayla and I said, "Kayla, look, you've got to go swimming." When a little girl turns around and says, "But mommy, I put the hat on my hair. I go swimming. I don't like washing my hair, and I come out of the pool and you still have to wash my hair. So what's the point? Why do I have to wear the hats anyway?" So it was a real issue for us. Swimming wasn't fun for her, and swimming wasn't fun for me, and I just thought we had to do something about it. Yes, and so the inspired thought of the NMS, came about, and I started investigating what alternatives were available for Kayla. So we tried all sorts of swim hats and doubling hats and bigger caps, and it just didn't work. And I made her a promise. I said, if we couldn't find something, we're going to have to invent one. And so that's really how NMS was born.
Danielle, share about the process of actually inventing, designing, and bringing it to market.
One of the big challenges that I had was obviously manufacturing was in my background, but I was a woman, I was a mother with an issue. And so when I kind of tried all the different alternatives out there, and bigger size hats and different designs, and nothing worked, I kind of thought, there's got to be a way, there's got to be a way. I got this inspired thought. I thought, as women, we wrap our hair, we tie our hair to do all sorts. Is there a waterproof scarf that would do the same thing? Because the scarves that we use on our hair, whether we've got braids or straight hair or colored processed hair, regardless of what our hair is, we find a way of tying the hair and hairstyles to secure them when we're sleeping or when we're conditioning our hair. And so I kind of thought, what about a waterproof headscarf? And not a swim hat, a waterproof headscarf. And the next thing was, where am I going to get the material? What sort of fabric am I going to use? Exactly what does waterproof mean? Is it going to be breathable? And so I started investigating on this, and I kind of thought, I'm going to use the same material that's used for the standard swim hat, i.e. latex at this point. And I tried to get some latex fabric, and latex fabric that you use for clothing. And I got some of that fabric, and I started cutting it in different shapes and different designs. Initially just the standard triangle. I'll try it on Kayla's hair. Sometimes I'll put it over a hat, or sometimes I'll double the scarves. And I started the process, started looking into it. And the challenge that I've had is inventing this product that now works and has been tried and tested, but finding a factory or finding a manufacturer that would have that end-to-end process. And that's really what we're working on right now. The product has received a lot of traction, especially from the media and from the press. But the challenge is finding that one house that would manufacture it end to end. And so our supply chain right now is going through 4 different bits. So from getting the fabric to cutting the fabric to having it chlorinated and then packed and ready to go. So we're still working through the process right now to bring it to market, but we are set for launch in May. So yes, the supply chain is in place, the supply chain is secured, and it's being manufactured here in the UK and in light of COVID and everything else. But yeah, we're in the process of manufacturing right now. No, I'm saying we're going through a production process right now, albeit it's not in one factory, but in a slightly longer supply chain than normal. So we're hoping that once we get out of COVID, we would be able to find ways of streamlining and making the production more lean than it is right now.
And speaking of COVID-19 and you being in the UK, how is that impacting the whole process, the manufacturing process, and the whole business process of what you're doing with launching a new product?
My team and I have carried on. We've made the decision that we set May for a launch date, and that's what we're, fingers and everything else crossed, that's what we're intending to keep, because that's what we've communicated to everyone. It's not the easiest of things because things are changing pretty much on a daily basis. Sometimes we feel like supply chain is completely secured, and other times, we get changes. We're not in absolute lockdown, but I'd say we're about 80%. But the good thing about our manufacturing chain or our supply chain is that the companies that we're using and working with, they also manufacture medical grade products. So they're not closed down. They're the few businesses that are actually still allowed to be open at this time because they're supplying medical devices within this COVID-19 situation. So they've stayed open. The fingers, toes, and everything else crossed, that remains the case.
So how does Kayla feel being the inspiration behind your design?
So she likes to think of herself as a co-founder, and that's okay, or co-inventor, she says. She's really excited about it. I think one of the things I, as a mother, and obviously as an inventor, you'd say, one of the things that excites me most is the possibilities that this product has and the huge, overwhelming response that I have received from mothers, from girls, from women generally, and even men, on the excitement about the product. And we've gone through over 12,000 emails. Nothing could have prepared us for that. I mean, initially when the product was developed, we were looking more at the BAME market, as in the Black minority ethnic market, but it's everybody with gorgeous hair, whether it's straight hair, braids, color treated, everyone with gorgeous hair is just literally saying, we're waiting for this. They're pre-ordering. I don't think that I could ever have appreciated the impact of solving the issue with Kayla's hair, what that would have done to humanity as we know it. I mean, you'd have thought that the swimming cap issue was just for us, Black women with afro hair and different versatile hairstyles, but it's everyone. everyone has had that issue, but no one has actually done anything about it. Instead, when I was meeting with Swim England, with one of the key partners of the Black Swimming Association, I was speaking to their commercial director, who is a Caucasian lady, and she said, I've heard about the product, can you show me how does it work? And I got up and I kind of had a quick demo, and she fell back in her chair and she went, "Blimey, why didn't anyone think about that?" Her exact words. And I turned around and I said, "Well, Emma, that's because it was never an issue for you or for people, for just generally as we knew it, but it's an issue for us. And that's why a lot of thought has gone into this." And she said, "But Danielle, it's not just for your hair. It's for anyone. I mean, I have long, thick hair, and as does my daughter, who swims about 3 days a week. Who are your distributors? I would use this, and it makes me look quite stylish, and it doesn't give me the cone head." And so the impact of solving Kayla's hair issue is just very far-reaching, and she's been so excited to see mommy on TV, hear mommy on the radio, and getting mommy so busy, getting the product out there. Because, when we developed it initially, she's one of the things, her reaction was, "My goodness, mommy, this is brilliant." She went down on her knees and she lifted up her hands and said, "God, thank you. Now we can solve the problem of other girls like me having issues in the pool. Mommy, now we can help Annabelle and all of my other friends at school." And that was her reaction to it. And she kept reminding me, "Mommy, when is it going to go to market? Mommy, when is it going to be available in shops?" And so she's really excited right now, seeing what's going on, that there is a lot of traction that we're getting with the product, yes.
And Danielle, what are you calling the scarves?
So the scarves are called Nemes. Why Nemes? The name of the brand is Nemes. And what are these? The Nemes is a waterproof scarf. When I initially developed it, for girls, we have what we call the Clio. For boys, we have the Pharaoh. We also have the Nef, as in Nefertiti, the Nubia, and the Nubi. So there is that Egyptian theme that seemed to run through the different designs, because there are 4 or 5 different designs that we have within the collection. And they were all called waterproof scarves, because I was thinking about ladies when I designed the product. But then I noticed that I had godsons and other friends and relatives around me who kept fairly long hair or braided hair as boys and as guys. When I gave them the product to try, they found it slightly challenging to tie a triangular headscarf that the woman would have no issues tying. We went through different designs and ended up with something that looks like a waterproof do-rag, but it's a flat-out shape. It's not a cone shape in any way, so it's not a dome form like the standard swim hat. For every different design that has come through and every different part of the market would come in with a name. And obviously, guys generally would not want to tell their friends, "Oh, I just bought myself a waterproof scarf." So we then faced the point where we had to come up with a brand name for it. And I thought, what am I going to call this brand name? The thing is a waterproof scarf, but what is the brand name going to be? And whilst I started doing research, I went online, I thought, just type in, what is the headgear that was worn by pharaohs or worn by the Egyptians back in the day? And then I fell on the Nemes, and I thought, that's exactly what it is. It described the product to the T. We went down the Egyptian route, calling the brand a Nemes. So the Clio, the Pharaoh, the Nubia, the Nubis, the Nef, they're all part of the Nemes collection. The Nemes were the garments that were worn over the crown of Pharaoh's heads back in the day, in the Egyptian era. And for me, the significance of that is that our hair and our heads are our crowning glory. And the Nemes covers that, keeping it secure and keeping it safe and protected.
That's a great story. Thanks for sharing that. Danielle, tell us what you are most grateful for right now in your life.
I'm grateful for the gift of life. I'm grateful for the gift of health more than anything. Really grateful that in spite of COVID-19, I was sharing this with my husband the other day, the business is doing good. We're getting the traction, we're getting pre-orders, we're getting interaction, and that could only be gone. And that for me is something I'm really, really grateful for. A lot of other businesses were asked the people saying the COVID-19 has really made me pack things up and there is no hope. I don't know what's going to happen after this. We are actually excitedly plodding along and going forward, knowing that as people are able to get out of the house, they're going to be hitting the pool, they're going to be hitting the beach, they're going to need this product, and so we need to get it ready with distributors and make it available in the market. So even going through this period, working so hard to ensure that is the case, for me, is a huge blessing. Other people are winding down and we're scaling up, and that can only be God. That can only be God, and that's what I'm most grateful for at this time.
And that is awesome because I'm thinking about I'm in Las Vegas and it's super hot in the summertime or whatever. And a lot of people, and I know that this is indicative of Florida too, and California, they have private pools. That's another market I know when people are looking to congregate in a pool when we can, when this is all over. But there's also people that have their own private pools. So that's a good thing too.
Thank you.
What problem exists in the world today that you would like to solve?
I would say I have pretty much settled in on this hair issue. I thought it was local initially because when you look at the statistics with Swim England and here in the UK, and they say 95% of Black adults do not swim and 80% of Black children in England do not swim. For me, seeing that statistic come down is really what I'm most excited about, knowing that this product is an answer to a lot of questions and the solution to a really age-long problem is what I'm focusing on solving or saving the world with right now, Dr. Richards. I know that probably sounds like it's tunnel vision, but I think I'm taking it one day at a time and one problem at a time. And I just feel like the inspired design that I receive, I believe from God, that I know for a fact was from God, is to solve this particular issue. Because I don't know, I'm sure it's the same thing in the US, but the representation, swimming is an essential skill. It's a life-saving skill. It's a skill that could save lives. At the back end of last year, we had an issue in Costa del Sol. I don't know if you heard that in the US, a family of 5 who went in on holiday to Costa del Sol, and we had a woman lose her husband and her 2 children in the pool on the same day. 5 went out and 2 came back normal and 3 in the casket. Incidentally, they lived just 10 minutes away from home and I was acquainted to them. And that for me was a big trigger for the Black Swimming Association. So we had said we're going to launch the Black Swimming Association, but we hadn't decided when. If anything, we're thinking about launching around spring of this year. But when that incident came up, we came together and we thought, we've got to go in and we've got to go in now because it's a problem. It's no longer... Swimming has never really been a part of the Black culture, especially here in the UK. I don't know what it's like in the US, but it's no longer optional. Swimming is an essential skill and it does save lives. So getting in to do that at the time that we did also birthed the mess as we now that has kind of just gone global. So for me, this is the right time. This is the time for it. And this is an issue that affects the world that I've been blessed to be a part of a solution to.
Yes, that is true. And I think about a story that I heard a couple of years ago, how Olympian Cullen Jones, he's challenging the stereotype that Black people don't swim. Did you hear that story?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that would be a great coming together for the two of you guys. That is really good.
A lot of the responses that we've had with the 12,000 or odd emails, incidentally, I've gone through, I'd say 95% of each one of those responses, I had to get someone in to help me at some point. These are people, and these are ladies, these are mothers, these are girls, and they're going, I used to swim, but I couldn't anymore because of my hair. Or now I'm going to take up swimming lessons. Or now I can get into the pool. Now I take up aqua aerobics. So it's not been... People have been thinking about it and they've been trying to engage with it, but have found that they haven't had the right tools. So hopefully with the NMS becomes that anchor and the NMS becomes that tool that enables them to do this thing that they've always wanted to do. I think the challenge or the dilemma would have been that people didn't actually have the willingness to want to do that. But based on the emails and based on the communication that we're receiving, they have wanted to do that all along, but have felt like there was a significant barrier, i.e. the hair issue. Because our hair is our identity. Our hair is our crowning glory. As women especially, we spend a lot of money on our hair. We do. To then have to expose that to chlorine, that is a chemical bleaching agent, is a big issue. So definitely, I'm really, really excited that the appetite is there, the excitement is there, and people are just waiting to get hold of this, to get into the water. And if this, Dr. Richards, becomes the first of many products of its type, and the mess is just the first to market, but also that active agent that stares on to get people who now, companies who now manufacture swim hats to consider that there is an alternative that is better, that they can even improve on, then so be it. I'm really excited about that. It might just be that inspiration that the world needs.
And we're excited too. We can't wait. Danielle, advice you wish you had followed?
Done this a bit sooner. We hit dry with the product, with the testing and things that we're doing. The product was ready as of August of last year. But I was in two minds about it because it's such a simple product. The thought was, can you actually take this to market? Is it going to make the difference? Have you just solved the issue that you have? Do you need to take it out there? You can just get on with life. I wish I had done this sooner. But I think, as with all things, this is the right time for it, albeit in the middle of the COVID-19, but I think it's the right time for it. So, advice, I wish I had done it sooner.
What would you say is the biggest challenge of being an inventor, an entrepreneur?
The expectations. It's been quite overwhelming, and a part of me is thinking, my goodness, Danielle, can you deliver? And I'm really excited that it already works. It's not a product that we're looking to test to see if it works. It already does work. A couple of people have asked me, so how exactly, so you mean if I just cut latex and tied it to my hair, it's going to work? The product is simple in and of itself, Dr. Richards, but the genius is in how you tie it to get dry and how you pair it and what you can use with it to achieve at least 98% dryness. And so, yeah, I don't know. Challenge would be the expectation that's kind of on my shoulders. But yes, no, I'd say that's the greatest challenge, just the expectation that the world has right now on this product. Solving that issue, and I'm just really excited that it works. So we're not starting from a position of testing, we're starting from a position it actually does work. And it's how we educate the world, how we educate our client base on how to use it so that it can work for them. That's the challenge. That's what as a team, that's what we brainstorm on every day, how we can actually get this to work, and so how we can communicate the most effective way to use it so that it works. Because we don't want to launch in May, we send out and ship out all the products, and people go, oh, I tried it and it doesn't work. It actually does work, but you need to be taught how to use it. And I think that also is like a joker, a card in our hands that we're not really exposing yet, because like I said, the product is so simple. It's not so much in the design of it and the shape of it, which yes, we have patented, by the way, with the World Intellectual Property Organization in Hague, Geneva, but it's actually educating people. This is something that's completely new. And Dr. Richard, one of the things that is dear to my heart is this is a versatile, stylish product. It's a recreational aquatic headgear. So you can use it in the shower. You can use it in the pool. You can use it on the beach. You can use it on a rainy day. You can use it if you just want to go for that quick run. You can use it if you want to rehydrate your hair. You can use it for kids for detangling their hair. It's so versatile. And one of my issues is it's being perceived as only a swim scarf, but it's not a swim scarf. It's a waterproof scarf, a recreational waterproof scarf that does all of these other things. So one of the things I kind of say to people is, if you're not a swimmer, it's very unlikely that you're going to go out and buy a swim hat or a swim cap because you don't swim. But you can go out and get in the mess to use the mess for everything else. I also encourage you to use it to get into the water, whether it's just a quick splash around, or you take the children to, a splash park, or, you take them into the pool. It's such a versatile product that has a really high return on investment almost daily. And again, that's one of the things we need to educate the population, educate people to know how to get the best out of the mess.
I have to tell you, Danielle, and I have to give a shout out to a dear friend, Linda, who had told me about your scarf. And she had given it to, I think it was on Facebook or something. And I was going to ask you the question about the publicity and how did you organically get the word to spread. And there's a video that I have on YouTube, and it's showing me I have a really large salt and pepper afro. And so she said, and I do a lot of exercise, and I do a lot of water aerobics and Zumba in the water and stuff. And she said, this might be your solution, because everything that I put on my hair from wigs to whatever, my husband says it's sitting on your head like a party cap because my hair is so thick and I've had so many swim caps that I busted. They won't fit on my hair. They won't keep my hair dry. So I generally just go in the pool like a turban, just like a towel wrap on my head to protect it. And when I'm thinking about your scarf and the protective hair, I'm thinking about women who have natural hair, or once they get their hair, if they do get it flat ironed and it's raining or something, I could see them using your scarf. So I just think it's going to be a multi-purposed gear that someone would definitely want in their wardrobe.
It's definitely, I agree with that, Dr. Richards. It's designed to be that. It's designed to give back, and it's designed to be an everyday staple for everyone's closet. When I kind of envisage, when I think about the mess, I think about the mess in every single household. So regardless of ethnicity, age, or gender, in every single household, like I have in a mess. I have one in the car, I have one in my handbag. Wherever I go, it's just so easy, you just slip it in, because sometimes it's raining and you're trying to get from the front door to the car. You don't want to have to open an umbrella and then get to the car, open the door of the car, and then get in and then try to shut the umbrella. I just put it on my head and I rush in, do what I've got to do, or I take this out to the splash park, or we get out to the pool. It's just so versatile and it's so easy to just slip into your bag, and it's quite stylish. So I'm looking forward to the difference that this is going to make. And one of the things I discovered, I haven't shared this, but if you don't mind, I'd like to share this with you, Dr. Richards, is I didn't invent the Namaste to be a versatile aquatic scarf. I actually was trying to deal with the swimming issue. Now, how did it become so versatile in my eyes? Initially, it was a concern for me because I had this, whilst I was doing all the trials with Kayla, and, we tie it this way, we'll double it, we'll put it over her hat, and she would go in to our local health club when she had swimming lessons. The other Black mothers were watching that progress, and they were thinking, what exactly has that child got in her hair? And the swimming teachers were thinking exactly the same thing. What is that? They had this question that they were looking at each other, asking, but not really asking me. And every time she gets out of the pool and I take it out, and it's like it's 80% dry, 7% dry, or 100% dry. When I hit dry, the mothers noticed it because their caps were fading. They were doubling hats on the kids' head. And one of them said, "Can I try it on my daughters?" I'm like, "Yes, definitely." So she brought her daughter out, who was in my Kayla's swimming class, and I tied Annabelle's hair as well. And she went in and she was completely dry. Her mother got really excited because she has a very big afro, and I'll occasionally see her in the pool. So she said, "Oh, can I try it?" And I'm like, "Yes, why don't you try it for your hair?" A week later on, because the swimming lessons for this particular group was every week. So the next Monday, I see her and I go, "Did you try it?" She's like, "It's a fantastic product. It's brilliant." So I'm like, "You got into the pool, it kept your hair dry." And she said, "No, I splash around, I don't swim." So I was looking at her thinking, "I'm sorry, I don't understand. I thought you actually tested the product in the water and it worked." And she said, "Oh, no. I used it to rehydrate my hair. I did a henna treatment." And I looked at her thinking, Oh, and then I used it in the shower, and I just stood there bemused thinking, that is not why I invented it. That's not what I gave it to you to use it for. But I noticed that all the Afro-Caribbean ladies around me, I gave out a few samples for them to test. But one of them even came back and said, "Oh, I used it for my water baptism." I just stood there thinking, what is going on? You're using it for everything except what it was invented for. And at that point in time, I kind of felt a bit lost. But then it dawned on me, and I thought, actually, that might be a good thing. If it's doing all of these other things, then we could also encourage this particular group of people. That's when I knew that a lot of BAMEs, Black, Asian, and minority ethnics, didn't actually swim because they were using the product for everything but swimming. Obviously, its versatility is one of its USPs, the unique selling point for it. But the setting of the Black Swimming Association is just the product has been developed with the psyche of the average BAME. You want to use it to do everything else? You've already got a swim cap. You've already got a swim wrap. You've already got something to keep your hair safe. Now get into the water because of the health benefits, mental health, physical health, and just general well-being. So that is the story of how I discovered it was such a versatile product. In the first place, it was the feedback that I was getting from giving people the product to test it.
I love that story. That is wonderful. And speaking about swimming and exercise for mental and physical health, And we've talked about COVID-19, and it's so important for us to have that, to be healthy. Talk about self-care for Danielle. What does that look like for you?
Wow, self-care right now. I know you're probably going to say that to Richard, Danielle, everything about your life is a mess. Well, it is to a certain extent because I've gotten quite busy. But I have my tension bands, my exercise tension bands. Hello, what is it? It's in a mess because it's made from exactly the same fabric that you use for medical physiotherapy or tension bands. So you can use to either work out your thighs or your biceps and your triceps. So you can use it for that. And on a day when I'm just feeling, it's been a really long day with the kids around the house. The kids are using it as a tug of war. We're also using it obviously for a good shower, steam therapy, hydration therapy, and all of that. So I just enjoy the fact that I can now put something on my hair and get into the shower and have a head to toe good, really good shower, really good refreshing shower, without having to do the dock. Because before now, shower caps just didn't work for me. So you're holding on the shower handle and you're trying to have a wash from your neck down. But now I just get in there completely covered from head to toe, and I just sit under the shower, just really thanking God for another day of being healthy. And yes, so my self-care right now is around family, and it's around family, it's around prayer, going for those long walks, just getting back and doing Zumba at home with the kids, and then jumping into the shower and having a good steam up session, I guess. Yeah. I said Mother's Day was a good one. So in the US, Mother's Day is in May, and for us, Mothering Sunday was Sunday gone.
Oh, wow.
So it was really quiet, but yes, it was also the first time that we kind of saw an imminent lockdown. So the churches were not in session and everyone was streaming online. And I remember turning around and my husband and the kids had brought me some flowers and some gifts on Mothering Sunday. Because every time we've got that, I'm usually booked into a spa. I get my nails done and manicure, pedicure. I just go to get out for a spa. But I wasn't able to do that this year because we're all supposed to be staying indoors. But yeah, I was able to have a good soak and a good shower. A soak in the morning and a shower in the evening. Don't ask why. I just felt like on that day I just needed the TLC. But yes, it was interesting.
Danielle, we can learn from successful entrepreneurs or brands. Tell us a brand or a business that is dominating that you admire and why.
That's a good one. I'm trying to think about one. I actually have more than one in mind right now. First thing that popped into my head when you asked the question was Oprah. Oprah, more about who she is as a person and the brand that is Oprah and the difference that she's making to the world, the impact that she has. That inspires me, and I'm hoping that someday I can share my story on Oprah with the world, because she set a platform right there to empower, but also to reach out to the world. So I would say definitely Oprah. If I had to think about another one, I would say the BSA. I know that we've just launched it and in the UK, but it's making waves. I'm excited about the difference that is going to make to swimming as we know it, almost like rewriting the narrative for swimming here in the UK and worldwide, because we're having people partner with us around the world to see what we're doing and things that work. And the third brand I would say would be Nike. Nike, because it's a lifestyle brand, and Nike transcends age and gender and culture and religion. Everyone wears Nike, whether they're an athlete or not. Nike is a lifestyle brand. And also they're empowering and giving back to grassroots sports. Yeah, I also have had the privilege to partner with Nike, with the Black Swimming Association. So I've had the chance to really have a look at Nike from inside and not from outside in. And Nike, that brand inspires me.
Speaking of branding, Danielle, how did the word and the buzz get out for your business?
I don't think anyone would ever believe this, but thank you for asking the question. I didn't go out to brand and push out in a mass in all the channels that it's been seen or heard of. I just was doing something that was passionate to my heart in response to what happened in Costa del Sol when we set out the Black Swimming Association. So I began developing the mass mat last year. I kind of got to where I needed to with the product. And the next thing was Swim England. So I'm so sorry. Let's just backtrack a little bit. It's going to make a lot more sense, Dr. Richards, and I'm hoping that you can edit this part of the conversation and get it back in. When I developed my waterproof scarf, at the time it wasn't called Nemess. I got an email from my husband, and it was a very short email in August of last year. He said, read this article, contact Swim England. And I thought, this is very strange. I read the article, and the article is written by a journalist called Sarah Jones, the BBC. And she's just written a piece about Alice Dearing, who is the only black swimmer in Team GB, the Olympic team for Great Britain. And she said that Alice says, I understand why girls quit because of their hair. So the article, in essence, was talking about the fact that there were no black elite swimmers in Team GB, and also the issue that girls have over swimming and their hair. When I got this article, it was written on the 6th of August. That was around the time where I kind of had finalized my waterproof scarf. And I thought, this is interesting. That article gave me the spur on to come out with the product, because I was still struggling with it at the time. So I then write to the journalist, Sarah Jones, and I say to her, I may have a solution to this. And then I also contact Swim England at the same time to say, I have something that can be used as a tool to get more black Asian American ethnics into the water. So that began my journey into trying to get this product out there. Now, I then fast track. I meet up with Sarah Jones. She reads my email. She's really pleased, because at that point in time, she'd written the article, and millions of people had read the article, but she was thinking to herself, what next? Because she was an elite swimmer in Howard University in the US, but had now come back to the UK, and she was now a BBC journalist. So we said, we're going to do something together. And obviously, she'd written the article about Alice, and so Alice was on board. And then we come across this gentleman who's got this brilliant film, documentary, a 30-minute documentary called Black Can't Swim. And at 53, Ed Akira is just learning how to swim, because his mother had said to him, don't go near the water, just like most of our parents or grandparents. The best water safety measure is not to go near the water, and swimming is not for you. So it's only at 53 that he's learning how to swim. So he has this documentary called Black Can't Swim, and he's documenting his story. So the four of us then come together, and we're thinking, let's do something. Because at this point, each one of us is speaking to Swim England separately. Swim England is saying, yes, you want to do something, but there's no body that we can interact with. And that's how the idea of the Black Swimming Association came to bear. So I was just doing what I was passionate about. And so we come together, we set up the Black Swimming Association, and we're preparing for launch with the Black Swimming Association in March, on the 2nd of March. By that time, I have put things within the mess aside, and I am building the BSA, and we're speaking to national aquatic governing bodies like the Royal Lifesaving Society UK, the Swimming Teachers Association, Swim England, Nike, London Marathon events. We're speaking to all of these different companies and organizations to come in collaborative partnership to tackle the issue of swimming within the Black community. And so we're signing up all these partnerships and strategic agreements, and we're so excited because we're now all going to launch with our press releases on the 2nd of March, which is what we do. So that goes to schedule. So when we then launched, the journalist that wrote about the story was from the Press Association, and the Press Association is like the hub where all other news houses get their information from. So she writes the story on the BSA, and we have quite a bit of traction on it. And then she sends me an email later, and she says, I've been doing research on all the co-founders of the BSA, and I think writing about your product could be the next step to give the BSA even more clout as part 2. And I'm thinking, well, okay, that's fine, go ahead. And she writes the story about the Nemess. Little was I to know that was the trigger point, that explosion for the product. It's a long-winded way of answering your question, Dr. Richards, but I didn't set out to give the Nemess the sort of publicity that it has right now. I set out to do one thing, to get more Black, Asian, and minority ethnics into the water. But it's turned out that the whole hair issue is more than just the BAMEs. It's everyone. It's everyone with gorgeous hair who's had this issue with the swimming hat and the lack of the fact that they just don't really work as well as they should. But they've kept it quiet and just gone on because there was nothing else to look forward to. For me, that's where the eruption came. So she writes the article, and she sends me a signed up version at 11 a.m. and she says, this London has picked it up. And by 6 p.m., it's already featured on over 30 different news online channels. I'm thinking, this is serious. By the next day, my phone is pinging And I'm getting calls from BBC, from ITV, and they've picked up on the story because somebody has, one of the Metro UK has published a story in print media. And that's a free newspaper in the UK. And everyone, I didn't understand why I was getting so much, traction on the website and pinging on my phone until one of the co-founders sent me a snapshot on WhatsApp. And he says, have you seen this? I'm like, what is this? And it's like, you've been published in the Metro. And that's how everything just went explode. I was just doing what I was doing to try to get more people into the water through the BSA, and that just naturally gave wings to the mess.
That is a wonderful story. Thanks for sharing. Danielle, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question that you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
The one question I would have asked myself, I don't know, honestly, Dr. Richards. I think you've asked them all. I don't know. I'm quite humbled by this entire process, the amount of publicity that this has received. I think if I was going to think about something just off the top of my head, it would be how I get this to the ends of the earth. Because between you and I, Dr. Richards, I'm getting emails from Uganda, from South Africa, from Nassau, the Bahamas, from Belize, the Cayman Islands, and I don't ship out to all of these places, but they need the product. They're coming on, they're sending all these emails, and how I get it out there, it would have to be through partners and distributors. How I reach these distributors, I'm hoping that podcasts like yours resonate in the hearts of potential distributors who are willing and happy to partner with me, with Nemes, to get this out there.
A lot of people would like to know, Danielle, how did you raise or get the capital to start and invent the product?
A lot of the research and development that I've done with Nemes has come from our existing company as a family, because we have a few other businesses that we work on. And so a lot of the R&D has come from there. Part of that as well has gone to build up the Black Swimming Association. I have stepped out, one would say, in faith, because I didn't know, nothing could have prepared me for the overwhelming positive response that I've received with the product. And I didn't have any capital sat anywhere to say, we're going to spend £100,000 on developing this. As I have stepped out and done what I've had to do to get this out, I'm getting people finance it. And that is really helpful. That's really helpful. There are people who believe in the product and they're just, calling to say, do you need money to do this? How can I help to do that? I would like to put my expertise forward for this. So it's become a community thing. I can't directly say to you, this is how I did it. All I can say is when I took the step of faith, every place where there is a need, the answer and the solution just seems to arise to meet it.
Danielle, what is the one thing that we can do right now to support your business?
Spread the word and partner with me. We're looking for distributors. We're looking for distributors, large distributors. So if I could say this, if we can have this product in Target, or we can have them in the main department stores that you have in the US, and same in Australia or in Canada, we would like to get them to stock the product so that people can have that access, ready access to the Nemes. That's the key thing. A lot of the emails that have come through have been, where can we get this? Where can we get this? How can we get this? And yes, we will be shipping out from the UK, but it'd be really, really good to know that because it's such a novel or new product that you can go to your local department store and you can pick it up. You can try it out for size, for starters, and know exactly how it works instead of having to wait for it to come from the UK. So I guess how can you help would be to spread the word, and hopefully this reaches the ears of people we can partner with to get the product available within local regions.
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Fun Facts Lightning Round. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Fun Facts Lightning Round?
I am.
The last movie you saw?
Guardians of... with the kids, and I don't remember the title.
You relax doing what?
I relax listening to Juanita Bynum's worship songs.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
That would have to be Juanita Bynum.
Your favorite dance song?
That would have to be Runke Adesokan's Let's Celebrate.
What food do you eat every week, no matter what?
I take a lot of wraps. Just had 2 this morning. Yeah, just wraps with either avocado or just any sort of filling. A lot of wraps.
Your favorite month?
May.
Hit the gym or hit the couch?
Hit the gym, definitely. Tennis, swimming, badminton, Zumba, please, you name it, hit the gym or a good run.
Danielle, share with our audience, and this is not anything that you have to do quickly. Share with our audience, what is the best way for our audience to connect with you and to support your business? Give us all your social media handles and the way that they can reach out and support your business.
We're on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is at Nemes_5S. Please get on, follow us on Instagram, interact, connect with us. There are lots of photographs on there and also trials of the product that you can see. We're also on Facebook as My Waterproof Scarf. We're on Instagram. Well, I've mentioned Instagram. We're on Twitter as My Waterproof Scarf as well. I'm on LinkedIn as Danielle Obey. Just let's get the noise and get the buzz. The website is www.mynemes.com. Please pre-order. And just spread the word. Spread the word. So Facebook as My Waterproof Scarf, Twitter My Waterproof Scarf, Instagram at Nemes_5S. And LinkedIn as Danielle Obey. And also you'd find My Waterproof Scarf on LinkedIn if you search that way.
Thank you, Danielle. We appreciate you being spending part of your day with us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. That is a wrap.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Richard.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.